It is in this 59-acre piece of land at Mawingu IDP camp in Olkalau that you'll find over 2,000 families of the displaced persons struggling to beat the odds of life. The post-election violence that rocked the country back in 2007 and early 2008 left a trail of destruction that will remain to haunt most Kenyans for years and even decades to come. Thousands died while hundreds of thousands were displaced, now living in dingy tents commonly known as IDPs.
The leaders, they don't care about the people who voted for them. And now, as you can see, we identified the parcel of land. And we know that could be only the solution to solve all these problems that we are going through. We have lost a number of people. We have lost 128 people here in this camp. Innocent Kenyans dying just for nothing. High blood pressure, rheumatic, pneumonia, all those diseases. The ones which are related to trauma and some other things. You know, people had properties, people were wealth. We were not poor. We used to depend on our own. Now, we are dependent on the government, but the government is not taking care of it.
It is not easy to take this pain where people lost their loved ones, some had their lives turned down, virtually every one of them had their homes destroyed and had to flee. Some are yet to return to what they will otherwise call home.
Post-election violence affected us in a big way. This has made trauma, fear and anger not in people's mind. What is there is that when we left Nakuru Escatio ground, we came here to Mawingu. The big problem that the main problem that we have here is about sanitation, food, health, education. Don't forget that these people they don't have income.
Most of the internally displaced persons are living in terrible conditions, unbelievable in the sight of every humanity. To them, every time the sun sets, it's another struggle of defining the reason for survival, notwithstanding the challenges they face in this camp. By virtue of common sense, it's not a mere notion, but a fact that the government is giving little, if no attention to the plights of these Kenyans.
Since the government started resettling IDPs, the government have settled only 1,200 families out of 6,000 families for the last 3 years. So what I can say is that the government is doing absolutely nothing. Yeah.
Some of the tents are torn and the IDP say that they have no hope that they will be moved out of the camp soon. Theirs is a life of misery and a bleak hope.
Hapa tuna tabu sana. Maana hizi hema zimepasuka kabisa. Hata kama mvua ikinyesha, hata ikiwa ni kidogo namna gani, inaingia ndani.
For their children, they have been forced to repeat classes because of lack of fees. That aside, their shortcomings in this place are beyond reproach.
Serikali inaitiza 4,500 na wazazi wanapata shida kulipa maana hawana jambo lolote la kulipia. Kwa hivyo
mostly our kids, they were sent back home. The ones who are in primary school, they were sent back home due to 140 shillings per kid. But to get that money is a challenge, is a problem. So our kids are not faring well.
Our journey does not just stop at the IDP camp. We take a walk to the graveyard where the government set aside to bury the dead ones at the camp. Many of a good number of those buried here are due to depression and stigma associated with the violence meted on them.
Tumepitia shida mingi sana. Ukiangalia kama saa hii kwa hii makaburi tumesika watu zaidi ya 270 na imetugharimu mpaka hata sisi wenyewe tunaangalia mchanga mwenyewe ni mgumu, tunaanza kuweka masanduku karibu 3 kwa shimo moja.
For those who are HIV positive, they too have a story.
Tunatumia madawa ya hali ya juu sana. Na kulingana na daktari kulingana na vile anasema tutumie chakula mara 5. Na ukiangalia hii kambi, ile chakula inaingia hapa, inaingia kwa kambi mzima. Na chairman wetu analetewa chakula ya kambi mzima. Kwa hivyo inakuwa ngumu kusupply sisi kama vile tunajijua na kupata chakula kulingana na vile tunatakiwa.
Sisi wenyewe hulala katika hema ambapo kuna baridi. Sana sana hapa kunaitwa Mawingu sababu ya mvua. Sisi wetu wenye wako na virusi tuko na shida. Ikija wakati wa baridi tunaumia sana sababu magonjwa kama pneumonia na malaria na ingine TB iko hali ya juu.
Having had enough, the IDPs took to the streets to protest against the government's approach to their ever-worsening plight. Topping the agenda is the money versus land, with the IDPs preferring land to money.
Tumechoka sana kwa kukaa mawingu. Serikali tunawapatia wiki 2, hakuna kitu mlifanya hata moja. Sasa tunaamua kuondoka na tuko sasa hapa kwa chief. Kesho saa 12 tuko katika barabara tukienda kwa rais wetu.
Miaka 4 tumekaa kwa baridi, kwa magonjwa, kwa shida yote, si chakula si nini.
Hii pesa ambayo imesemekana shilingi 1500, 1500 itakuwa ya mtu binafsi, lakini haitakuwa ya familia. Lakini shamba itakuwa ya familia nzima. Sisi hatupingi mambo ya shamba. Sisi tunasema ya kwamba ni sisi tunaenda kuishi kwa hiyo shamba. Hata kama ni mbaya tupewe ikiwa mbaya venye ipo.
Hema zimeisha na tunataka kumkumbusha ya kwamba sababu jambo lile liko ndani ya moyo wake, tunamuomba ili litekelezwe baada ya wiki moja, sababu tulipeana wiki 2 na hakuna jambo limetendeka.
The two are not comfortable with the food rations the government is sending to them. Having no other source of livelihood, they feel the rations are way too insufficient for them.
Big challenge that we are facing mostly is about food. Is a big challenge because the food mostly that we receive 800 bags of maize. That's per month. That's the food ration of 1 month. But when you look at that ration is very small.
Watu ambao wako na virusi ambao wanatumia madawa wanatakiwa kula at least mara 5 kwa siku. Hapa shida ni chakula. Chakula kupata ni shida.
The story of suffering is repeated all over the camp. It makes one wonder why a few people in the name of leaders continue to live in comfort and luxury life while these innocent Kenyans continue to live in a misery. Samuel Tawish, GBS News.